Kais Island is an island located in the 10,000 Island system on the southwest coast of Florida. It's quite popular with us shellers, and I visited Kais Island last year a total of 9 times, and each time Kais was very good to me. I'm headed to Kais again, but something has shifted in me. I swear the beach is teaching me life lessons. And hey, if I can learn something, I'm all ears. Today we will be exploring gorgeous Kais Island, and as usual, I will be identifying everything we find. But I wonder if I could also pass along another thing I've learned, like not being attached to outcomes. I found a quote that really resonated with me and kind of summarized this newfound shelling attitude. When you release expectations, you are free to enjoy things for what they are instead of what you think they should be. So, while I have been here many times in the past, that isn't an indication of what my day today is going to be like. So, I'm going to keep an open mind, an open heart, and be excited about what is out there for us to discover today. Now, there are a lot of shells here, but this is where people are typically dropped off on the shell tours. So it's also probably the most picked over area. So I'm going to make my way kind of into the interior and see what all is out there. Now, as far as the tide will be going out the entire day. So I'm not going to keep checking in. It is going to be going out. And I just love exploring Kais. There is just something about this island. I know I feel like I come here to find something, but I end up feeling grateful. But not to worry, we are absolutely going to find things. And as I mentioned, I will be identifying all of them as we go along. And this, for the first time, I will be giving you a little bit of a warning about a heebie-jeebie moment that we may have, or some of you may experience. So if you're ready to see what Kais Island has in store for us today, let's go to the beach. Okay, the first thing I would like to point out are these cloudy periwinkles. So these little critters do feed out of the water. They're hanging out right now. That's basically where they are, in the splash zone. So they don't actually live out in the water. They kind of live in the splash zone. So as I had mentioned, we are on Kais Island, and that is where we will be spending most of our time. That's not to say that we won't leave and maybe go explore a different island. This is a calico scallop, a particularly lovely one. If you ask me, I like those 4 bright orange little bursts of orange color on there. All right, checked out this little rack line. Looks like I found a little dwarf olive. All right, I usually find those when I'm looking for Wentel traps. So here I was just kind of showing you where I was, and look at this disappointment. Ah! So yeah, it looks like a sea turtle, man. Just took a big old chunk out of that. Moon snail. So that is a shark eye moon snail. That would have been absolutely glorious, but it's not intact. So I'm going to leave it there. Maybe someone else needs one for their starter collection. So we'll see what else Kais has. Oh, a sunray Venus clam. Granted, they are relatively common, but I don't care. I think they're so pretty. And on the back, they just have like a little splash of melon color. Ah, just like those. All right, the good old Cinctura hunteria, or the banded tulip. Yep, can always depend on those to show up on Kais. Uh-oh. This caught my eye. So this is a fighting conch. Oh, shoot, you're pretty. And normally, yeah, I try to wait because now I'm going to like carry that shell around for 4 hours. And normally I would just want to wait to the end. But look, if they speak to me, I probably should keep it. Now, the buttercup leucines, I was wondering if they would be so appealing to me if they didn't have that lovely yellow color underneath. Let me find a puddle. There we go. So yeah, that buttercup leucine, I love just checking out how buttery it is. So one of the few different leucines that we can find down here. Now, I thought that was an egg cockle. Yeah, no, we're going to shell nerd out for a hot second. So that is a quahog, a southern quahog. And I thought it was an egg cockle. Nope, imposter. And frankly, when I look down, most of these, they're kind of greenish yellow. We're looking at ponderous arcs and quahogs. A lot of the same species here. So we'll just keep on moseying along. I am going to be doing some zigzagging to try to cover as much area as I can. All right, here is our state shell, the Florida horse conch. That is also the snail, the largest snail in North America, the horse conch. Not that particular shell. Obviously, they can get big. Somebody sent me a message. They found it one that was like almost 2 feet big. It was incredible. Now, this fighting conch, yeah, it was kind of speaking to me. And it also has a natural shine to it. And that's just one of the many attributes of the fighting conchs that just make me love them. And you know what? While I'm here, okay, it's going to be one of those days. You are lemony and beautiful and kind of pointy, and yep, gonna probably have to hold on to you too. So let's see what else other than pen shells and fighting conchs might be here on Kais Island. Let's see how hard Kais is going to make me hunt. We have a little angel wing. Oh, that's really pretty. Now, the angel wings, once they get bigger, they got some oomph to it, but the little ones, this one's actually cracked. But I'm going to try to protect it in my delicates container. So one of the things I do mention, anything will do. A Pringles container, I have this Rubbermaid. I have a couple different, just hard containers I throw in my shell bag just to protect those little shells and delicate shells. Now here we see an osprey nest, and it occurred to me that the babies are almost the same size as the adult, and that's because baby birds grow fast. They're very vulnerable when they're in the nest, and so mom and dad will just keep pumping bugs and critters into those little birds. The ospreys will fledge between 4 to 8 weeks. Pretty incredible. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. So we have another fighting conch, light in color, has that natural shine to it. And so any of the shells that have that natural shine, put those in bleach, but don't put them in acid. The acid, if you're cleaning them, the acid will strip off that natural shine to it. Kais is one of the weird, it's kind of like spongy over here from all the trees that used to have roots and just kind of cemented their organic material here. And so it's just kind of spongy in some areas and then sandy as you get up. But it's just different. I don't know any other island that's really like this. All right, we have a bubble, a striate bubble. Yeah, that's a pretty little thing. I am very jealous. The bubbles on the West Coast are like 2, 3 times that size. They're pretty awesome. Oh, what little orange delightful thing do we have here? Ribbed cantharus. Nice. So some shells will have like a weird orange morph. The ribbed cantharus is one, the chestnut turban. Okay, and a couple other little, it's like a fighting conch, a little sharp rib drill. Now here's a periwinkle. Those little sea snails I showed you in the beginning there. Here's one of those little shells. Yep, that is a cloudy periwinkle. The mangrove periwinkle, I'll show you a little bit later. The entire shell has kind of a pattern to it, but these kind of have a solid, most of the base color is just the kind of solid. Here we have a lace murex. If I had to guess, I'd say this has been hanging around here for a little while. It's not quite as lacy as it could be, but that is indeed a lace murex. All right, another one of those banded tulips. Delightful. Yep, those actually are snacks for true tulips. True tulips will eat banded tulips. It is a snail eat snail world out here. Isn't that pretty? So this is a bay scallop. And I'm just going to be honest, unless somebody has a trick for me, I really cannot tell the difference between the bay and the calico. It's just really color and size. The shape looks like, to me, they look identical. If you have any tips or tricks, I've been trying to figure it out, and I just strictly go by color. All right, this typically is a pretty good spot here. Oh, okay. You're going to give me a shark eye? Oh, yes. Oh, true shark eye. Kind of a little bit bluish. We might call that a Paul Newman shark eye, right? Give it a little bit of a rinse. There we go. That's lovely. So yep, that is a moon snail. We call it a shark eye. I might have missed out on that big one, but at least we have this one. Kais is so pretty. I love this island. And you know what? This looks like a perfect opportunity for me to be quiet and for you to enjoy some beach time. All right, next up, oh, here's another one of our Phyllonotus pomum shells, or apple murex. Looks like it does need a little bit of TLC at the bleach spa, so that will probably be hanging out with some bleach in the near future. Now, I had mentioned earlier, yeah, almost all the shells I'm looking at here, we're looking at quahogs, ponderous arcs, and then there'll be a pen shell here and there, maybe a fighting conch. So there's lots and lots of shells, but predominantly it's going to be only a couple of different species. And so I'm just kind of hunting in between all of them to see if there's anything just a little bit more special. But no shortage of shells on Kais. And it's just such a beautiful place to explore. Okay, another spa contender. So this is a spiny jewel box. A little bit, yeah, a little bit of green, but a little bit of that spike. Very nice. Spiny jewel box. Now, here's the warning for you people that get heebie-jeebies. I just wanted to forewarn you. All those little black things, those are critters. Every single one of them. Look, they're all just, I know, weird. Just kind of moving around. Now, why are they black? That's their periostracum, kind of like the alphabet cones. The periostracum on these critters is black. Now, are they all the same creature? I do think so. I do think that these are West Indian false serifs. And it's funny, watch how they move. The larger part is where, that's what I think that is, a West Indian false serif. And when they're moving along, it's that larger part of the shell is pulling the smaller part. All of those little black things are little snails. All of them. And there were a lot. So I don't know if it's snail season for this particular species, but there were tons of them. Now there were also, moving into the second layer of heebie-jeebie, where these are fiddler crabs. So you may see little critters kind of out there just kind of running around. You're going to see them a little bit better. There we go. So those are fiddler crabs. Don't worry, buddies. We're all friends here. And it's funny, too, because they only use their own little hole. There's one little guy, and it runs around. Here it is. Passes a hole that's not his, and then makes it into his hole. So fascinating that they can even tell where their individual homes are. So I just think they're kind of fun. And you know what? If there was like a ton of fabulous seashells, I might not slow down to notice this. So that's one of the beautiful things about this little hobby. It's not all about the shells. There's other things to appreciate. Here is another bay scallop. How do I know that? Well, because of the color. And you know what? Bay scallops do get a little bit bigger than the calico scallops. Oh, Kais, you're so pretty. So yeah, just hunting around. See what else might pop up to delight us. Now, I do like alternate talons, and there just happen to be this spot of a whole bunch of them. They kind of have like a record player like pattern on the shell, so they've got like a lot of like little lines, and plus I think the name is kind of fun, alternate talon, not to be confused with the main talon or the left or right talon, the alternate talon. Strangely, that is just about the size I always tend to find them. No smaller. Interesting. Here we have a top snail, a jujube top snail with a little bit of beach stuff on it. Now, a lot of the beach stuff is not all that aggressive. You can really just kind of pick it off. Be careful, don't use your thumb. But we're looking at a lovely jujube top snail. So that is the south end of Marco Island. That's what those buildings are. I shell there as well. And when I'm there, I look over here. When I'm here, I look over there. And I wonder, is the shelling any better over there than it is here? Sheller's envy, but look, it is, look at how beautiful. Nope, I'm happy to be right where I am. Thank you very much. Now take a good look, because this is the only time we're going to see spots like this. So that is an alphabet cone. I'm always on the hunt for alphabet cones. I do very, very much enjoy finding them. But it's not in the cards for me today, and that is all right. Typically, the shelling is a little bit slower, for lack of a better term, in the summer, so we're kind of getting into slow season. Well, hello, Florida cone. Now, speaking of cones, the cones that we have here in Florida are venomous, but if you were to be stung, it would be more like a bee sting. You're not going to end up in the emergency room. So we do have those cones. They're venomous, but they're not super venomous, and they're not going to be as dangerous as some of the cones in other parts of the world. Now, this little rack line, this honestly looks like mostly barnacles. Barnacles, a little bit of organic material. What do we got? Oh, a coffee melampus. Well, that's just swell. All right, so that's what we're looking at there. Mostly, it looks like there's little bitty like nut clams. What do we got here? It looks like a fighting conch. Yep, that is just a wee little fighting conch. And that looks like a false angel wing. Yes, because the pattern is not all the way down to the edge of the shell. All right. Just figured I would check. You know, sometimes on kites you can bend down and they're just wonderful, magical little shells. Here's a few. There is a mangrove periwinkle. See, it's got the pattern over the entire shell, not just a little bit of the top. Then those other shells in my hand, those are bubbles. So sometimes that rack line, you know, you can find nice little tiny shells. It looks like today, you know, little this, little that, little sharp ribbed drill. And that's how little they are. That's it. It's just a tiny little shell. That's it. That's as big as it gets. And oh, it's a little Florida cone. Sweet. I have a mini collection I'm kind of adding to. Now these, the augers, the Eastern auger, I think they are just swell. Now recently I found out there's other kinds that I'm on the hunt for, and they move like so. The big part is the part where the critter is in the shell, and then that small part is what kind of trails behind. Love me a good auger. It's very slippery. Okay, here is another mangrove periwinkle shell. Wow, pretty good day for periwinkles. Typically pretty hard to find just because of the nature of the shells are kind of thin, and the critter kind of lives in that splash zone there. Oh, that's a heartbreaker. So this is a true tulip. That color. You're really kind of manhandling it. But yeah, I'm trying to, it's not in great shape, but I do love the color. Oh, here's another one. So this is also their true tulips. They get much bigger than the banded tulips. They got much cooler colors, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm going to leave that 3/4 of one behind, but I'm going to go ahead and hold on to that one. You never know. I could always change my mind in the future and bring it back to the beach. So that's a banded tulip, followed by an apple murex. And here we have, I do believe that is a mauve mouth drill, even though it doesn't look very mauve on the interior. So a couple other swell seashells. Now, sometimes I swear the shells try to hide. So there's one, can you see it? Right there. Crazy. You were literally trying to hide. So this is another Phyllonotus pomum, or apple murex. And something like that, I'd mentioned the acid earlier, because the acid will remove that white cast on the shell. But I don't put all the shells in acid. So something like this I would. This is a lace murex. So something like that I would try to clean with some acid, but not the fighting conchs, the olives, the shiny shells. I keep those away. So this, like a colorful moon snail, this does have like a natural gloss to it. So that's something I would not put in acid. I would simply put oil on that to make that look all pretty. So that is a colorful moon snail. Oh, I do love me a good worm snail. So this is a Florida worm snail, a favorite worm snail, because they're all wacky. They kind of start out, you know, okay, and then they flip out. That's the way I like them. That's a Florida worm snail. Okay, and another one of those jujube top snails. There are two other top snails that I have managed to find. That is a jujube. Oh, and a dusky cone. Sweet. It's in relatively good shape as well. Okay, another one of those augers. I'm on the hunt for a couple of the different types that we have. Very fun. Oh, and a rose petal tellin. I always think of Fort Myers Beach or Lover's Key, frankly, when I think of rose petal tellins, but apparently we can get them here on Kais as well. Now check this out. This is variable worm rock. I'm just doing that for just to show you how big it is. It's just lump. Now they can get really big. Sometimes you can find the little pieces, they will break off from those larger pieces, kind of roll up onto the beach, and you can find them with seashells and other things of that nature. But I thought it was interesting just to find this massive piece, and they can be responsible for building islands, these little worm rock snails. Go figure, right? Now this, I do believe, I think it's a spiny paper cockle. Even though it looks simile-ish, I do think that's a paper cockle. Now, when I come down here, I always go with Allie with SWF Shell Guide. Why? Because I was over there on Kais, and now I'm over here on Dickman's. Why did that happen? Because she wants to give us the best opportunity to look for goodies. That's a little piece of nacre. So when I come down here, I always go with Allie with SWFL Shell Guide. I will put a link in the description box below. She always tries her hardest to make sure that her guests find good stuff, or she gives them the opportunities to find good shells. So that's what we're trying to finish out our evening. Would you look at that beautiful parwelk? Oh, that's gorgeous. So yeah, am I happy I came here? Heck yes, I am. That is awesome. Oh, that kind of reminds me, I would love to find a carrier shell. This is just a bunch of little oysters. Some of the things down here, they glue themselves to other things. Oysters are one, kitten paws, spiny jewel boxes, but I am looking for one of those carrier shells. Now here's a lettered olive, but it's alive. Now these are voracious eaters, these olives, and it is on the hunt. I think they are just awesome. And you'll see that weird little tubey looking thing. That's its siphon. And it's sniffing around, looking for its next meal. Now, something like this needs to be kind of like cooked. So typically the darker shells, at least down here in Florida, they were buried for a while in low oxygenated environments. And so it just makes a chemical process and turns the shell black. I think they're so cool. Well, hello, nutmeg. That was the theme of last week's video, Fort Myers Beach and all those nutmegs. Look at how beautiful. But I don't need oodles of shells. I will be grateful with every single one that I happen to get, because just being here is enough. I'm so lucky to live here, and the fact that I get to do these kind of things, I just cannot bring myself to complain about anything that's going on this evening. Look at this beautiful, colorful moon snail. There's another auger, one of those eastern augers. There are some other augers I'm on the hunt for. Hopefully, one of these days I'll meet them. Oh, beautiful little orange true tulip. And of course, it's broken to kind of match the other ones. That's okay. Gorgeous color. I'm going to hold on to that anyway. So that is a little true tulip. And the white Atlantic semele. All right, it took me a while, but I know what those look like, even without those little flecks of red on the other side. So we are looking at a white Atlantic semele. Oh, and more of them. All right, what do we have here? Is that a purplish semele? Maybe. Paper. No, I do. I think that is a purplish semele. A hinged purplish semele. Yep. That's what I think that is. Kind of, it looks a little bit like the spiny paper cockle. They do remind me of them, and mostly because I don't find them that often, so I'm not quite as good as at identifying them. Look at that beautiful mangrove periwinkle along with a bubble. Here's a little, yep, that is a paper fig. A little broken on the edge there. This would be wonderful territory for Wentel traps. This looks very Wentel trappy, but I didn't find any. I was looking for them. Didn't find any. Did get this calico clam. Oh, with that beautiful golden hour sun on it. Gorgeous. And then I'm chasing something. Is it that orange? All right, it's a jingle. Yep, a little orange jingle. I feel like something else caught. Yep, moon snail. So that is another one of those colorful moon snails. Terrific. I do tend to find them down here in Kais. If I were to think of where I would find colorful moon snails, I do think Kais. Would you look at this? This is just beautiful. So I had a lovely afternoon hanging out on Kais Island, taking a quick little boat trip over here to Dickman's to finish the evening and look for those little treasures. But right now I'm just like at the end of my trips, I just feel all warm and gooey inside and just, frankly, just happy to be alive. And we'll close this out with another scallop. It's the first shell we picked up with some of those like little splashes of orange, and it's a last shell we're going to pick up as I again breathe in happiness and exhale gratitude and take a little trip back home. It was a great day. Thank you for coming with me. Now, I didn't get much garbage, but I did get these seashells. It looks like I got some of those top snails, some jingles, a broad rib carditas, some sunray Venus clams, lightning whelks, apple murex. We have some calico clams, these spiny jewel boxes, a rose petal talon, the angel wings. Oh, there's a limpet, the crossbarred Venus clam, that little melampus, the Tampa turrid, the crossbarred Venus clam. Then we do have some of those calico scallops. Some bay scallops, Florida cones, some lettered olives on top there, some Florida prickly cockles, oh, some periwinkles, one cloudy periwinkle and some mangrove periwinkles. It looks like I have mauve mouth drills, a Gulf oyster drill. There's some dusky cones. There is a ribbed and tinted cantharus, the white Atlantic similes, the alternate talons. Looks like we have some banded tulips, some augurs, colorful moon snails, buttercup lucine on the bottom there, the Florida fighting conchs, bubbles, the yellow prickly cockles, shark eyes, some lace murex, a worm snail. Oh, there was two of the nutmegs, and then my favorites were these right here, that Florida fighting conch, the pear whelk, that one particular scallop, the spiny paper cockle, and I think the hinged simile. Man, say that 10 times fast. Patreons, thank you so very much for choosing to monetarily support me. It does feel pretty awesome to know I kind of have like a little team in my corner. So thank you very much. I say it every week and I mean it. Could not do this without you. Next week, we're going on a little road trip and I'm super excited about it. We did hit the East Coast and it was awesome. So I will tell you all about that next Sunday. Until then, I hope you have yourself a great week. Don't worry about those expectations. Just let them go by the wayside. You be awesome. You do you. And I will see you again next Sunday.